What's up, guys? How's it going? All right. It's been a little while since I've gone live, but I'm back and we got some great things to share today. We got great things to go over. We're going to talk about semen retention because it is November, which means no, not November, which means that 1 month out of the year, a lot of men attempt to practice semen retention. Sometimes they are successful, oftentimes they fail. And so I'm going to share a little bit about how you can master the semen retention lifestyle. What's involved in this? What are the benefits? Why the hell would you want to do this? And yeah, this kind of thing. This is what we're going to be diving into. So stick around, guys. First of all, launched my Sex God course a few weeks ago. It's going amazing. Had a really solid group of guys join. Everyone who's in the course, congratulations. And just seeing amazing changes, amazing transformations already from the material. We're only 1 month into the year-long program, so it's been amazing. And so, with that, apparently I look old. Do I look old? Do I look old for being 54? No, I'm just kidding. It's the lighting, I swear. No, I mean, I think I look pretty good for my age, to be honest. Someone's jealous. Someone's jealous of my youthful glow. Just kidding. It's keep it together, man. Keep it together. Okay, where are we at? Right. Sex God course is going. It's going amazing. And I'm 34 years old. I don't know. Do I look old for 34? Maybe I do. It's been a rough life, guys. Let me tell you. But I still have my hairline. Oh, still got this fantastic hairline. All right. Semen retention. Let's get serious. Let's get down to business because this is important. Semen retention. Now, okay, someone said I'm look sexy. So do I look old? Do I look sexy? I don't know. It's up to you. Only you can determine this. Like this guy looks like a washed up old piece of trash. Okay, we're reeling into now. Semen retention. Why this is important. What are the benefits? Why the hell would you want to practice this? And how can you make this a sustainable lifestyle? So let's start a little bit with like my story. How did I get in? I want to give you guys a little bit of my background. Like, how did I get involved in semen retention? What was that process like? What happened? Well, interestingly, when I was 16 years old, personally, I started ejaculating, masturbating every day, age 13, 14, onward. It was a daily habit. It was like brushing my teeth. So, but interestingly, I remember when I was 16 years old, I went a week without ejaculating. Just because, I was busy, whatever, had other things I was doing, managed to keep myself occupied with. And I remember that week, I realized I haven't ejaculated in a while. I feel pretty good. I felt this like, just this life force within me. I didn't really know how to identify at that time in my life. I was like, maybe there's something to this. Maybe there's something to not ejaculating a lot. But needless to say, I fell back into habit, and that was that. But it was like there was something there, and it wasn't until my like early 20s, back to pretty much daily ejaculation. And I was reading a book, super out there, new age book, Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life. That was my dive into the kind of the new age, that whole area, right? Interesting book. Anyways, but it talked about basically for a man, uh, ejaculating being a loss of energy, a loss of your spiritual energy, and all the things like that. And I was like, that's interesting. I do feel a bit fatigued and depleted after ejaculating, but I was early 20s. I could recover quickly. Anyways, so it planted the seed in my mind. But all the book offered was like a method of like you'd like bring the energy up as you're ejaculating in it, and it wasn't that great. I'll just say that. So that was attempt number 2, and then in what was it, 2011? It's like a year, 2 years later. I heard about brahmacharya. Some like dude I saw on YouTube talking about yoga, and talked about brahmacharya and like you never get sick if you practice brahmacharya, which essentially is absolute abstinence, no sex, no thoughts of sex. If you think of sex, you failed, essentially, right? And of course, abstaining from ejaculation is kind of the main focus there. And I was like, okay, all right, I'm gonna do this. And I lasted about 3 days. And reflecting on it, it's like, and this is what I'm gonna kind of get into, is like it's easy to get on board with it. Like, okay, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, sounds good. And then all of a sudden, your sexual energy builds up. your sexual desires build up and amplify. And you don't really know what to do with it because you're not trained to know what to do with it, because your body has one way you've been dealing with that your whole life, which is to get rid of that energy. So that's the whole trick. But continuing on, so that was what, 2011. Went back to ejaculating every day. Made it 3 days, and then it was when I read the book Multi-Orgasmic Man by Montauk Chia. That book actually gave me like some practical method of like, oh, okay, yeah, it's good to retain your semen as a man, but that doesn't mean that you have to abstain from sex or self pleasure. You can have orgasms without ejaculating. And I'm like, this is it. This is the path for me. It's like I can't just, I'm gonna engage in sex and orgasm. Like it's gonna happen for me. It's just not an option to not. But this book was like, okay, I can have the best of both worlds. And I didn't really, master the techniques from the book, but it started me on the path. And it was when I really started practicing Qigong every day, when I learned how to open my microcosmic orbit, learn how to start circulating my energy, that I naturally started to have the non-ejaculatory sexual experiences, having these like subtle full body orgasm experiences. And it felt so amazing that I naturally gravitated to basically stop ejaculating as like, every time I had sex, um, I naturally started practicing semen retention. And so that was the whole thing. Was for me, I didn't get into semen retention thinking I was going to practice semen retention. It was just like a natural side effect of me learning how to redirect my energy, me learning how to have a more fulfilling sexual experience than just sticky sneeze out and it's gone. And, that was fun, but shit, I got to recover. Okay. And here I am today. That was 10 years ago. And I've been practicing semen retention for 10 years. I'm not saying I've been ejaculated in that 10 years. Certainly isn't true. But I've been doing this as a lifestyle. And I've managed to make it sustainable because it's all about your approach to it. And I'm going to share the things that make it sustainable for me. Because it's not like initially it's kind of a daily struggle. It really is. It's like, well, I want to just get on Pornhub and like, I have all this desire. And, it can kind of drive you crazy. There's no way around it. But when you learn, it's all about learning how to transform your body and your mind so that you respond differently to basically desire, arousal. It no longer becomes like your enemy. Like, oh, I have to avoid sexual thoughts, avoid urges, impulses. You have to learn how to use that energy for something productive, and you have to open up space in your mind and body to handle this level of intensified energy. Then it's easy. It's just like for me, it's like sure, when I'm having sex, it's like, yeah, I could ejaculate and it feel good, but it's like, okay, yeah, that's true, but like I'm not going to do that. Like there's not even a conflict. There's not even, oh, maybe I should. It's just like, no, I'm not going to, because I know if I did, yeah, it would feel good right now. But then I have to recover, and like my energy suffers, my practice suffers, the things I'm doing in daily life suffer. Like, it's just being able to see in the long term thing. So semen retention is essential for men in this modern world because men are so fucking depleted, super depleted from a lot of things. We spend our jing, Jing, our vital essence, your kidney energy, spending your battery like it's like you. Again, I've said this many times, but it's like you're born with $1 million, and it seems like you have an unlimited amount of energy. So you just like whatever, spend it here, spend it there, spend it on Pornhub, spend it on OnlyFans, spend it all over the place. But what's happening now is in this modern age of freely available tube porn, because there's one thing like shit. Even when I was a teenager, I had to. It was a whole process to watch porn. I had to like get the family computer, make sure no one was there, hook it up to the phone line, the modem, dial it up, wait like 20 minutes to download like a 5-second clip that's super pixelated. You can barely tell what's happening. I mean, that was my porn experience in my teenage years. And that was like leading me to masturbate and ejaculate every day. But now it's like, holy shit, kids who are 8 years old on their parents, or they have their own fucking, like, who's giving 8-year-old smartphones? You know what I mean? But they're on these smartphones, and there's kids who are like 10 years old addicted to porn now. It's fucking insane because it's so overstimulating. Like high definition, instantly available, any fucking porn you can possibly, I mean, even AI, like it's getting really fucking weird, guys. So men are becoming porn addicts. And that unnatural level of stimulation, like new video, new girl, just fucking overwhelms your brain like crazy, overwhelms your arousal response. And, again, I get messages from guys who are like, I'm jerking off 6 times a day. I'm like, bro, how do you have that much free time, first of all? Um, but that's just the level of stimulation. And so a lot of men in their 20s have the like hormonal levels of 80-year-old men because they're draining their battery from excessive ejaculation, excessive depletion. It's like, what the fuck are you doing with your life? You know what I mean? And the whole thing is it's normalized. It's just like, oh, it's healthy. Yeah, it's super healthy. Ejaculation a day keeps the prostate cancer at bay. You know what I mean? Which is bullshit. Okay. And so that doesn't help. So I'm here to re-educate you guys like, hey, you've been shooting your kidney sauce all over the place, drying up your battery, and you wonder why you have anxiety, depression, why you can't get it up with a real life human being, why you have performance anxiety, why you feel like you're going nowhere in life, why you struggle to get out of bed in the morning. Maybe it could be because you are funneling your life force out your dick and sending it down the drain every single day. Could have something to do with that. Now, there's many other factors as well. Many causes of stress and depletion, but the main one for men is too much skeet shooting. You know what I'm saying? All right. So that's the problem. So when you stop ejaculating all over the place all the time, get it together, man. Keep your pants on. All of a sudden, things start to change. You start to rebuild your battery. You've been just fucking dumping your bucket of life force. Well, you start to, patch that hole, stop the leak, and you start to fill it back up. So you get out of this pattern of depletion and your hormones start to improve because your endocrine system starts to function better because you have more resources available to your body. Because when you're constantly ejaculating, the body's like, oh shit, like he's just trying to reproduce on overdrive. Like we got to put everything, we got to make sure there's more resources. That's the body's priorities. Make more sperm, continue the species. But we've hacked that response a little bit, saying, oh shit, we got to pull, we got to pull minerals from the kidneys. We got to pull from the spinal fluid. We got to pull from the brain. Like we need to put everything into this guy's just shooting semen on overdrive. We got to keep recharging it, basically. So when you stop doing that, the body says, oh, okay, thank God. This son of a bitch is like, he's put his dick away for a minute. Now we can like get back to normal functions. Okay, let's put these resources back into the kidneys, back into the spinal fluid, back into the brain for proper function. We can have a little reservoir of testosterone now. And so you start to rebuild. And within a few days, usually, like for me, it was like day 4, I felt just like phenomenally more driven, more sexual desire, ultimately, like just that libido, you know what I mean? Which is an uncomfortable thing for a lot of men, which is why they don't make it that far. My mental clarity was powerful. My mood was improved. I felt great. I felt confident. I felt like, this is what it's like. This is what it's supposed to be like to be a human being. I've forgotten because I've been fucking depleting my balloon every day. And once you get back to that, it feels good. Okay. So there's a lot of benefits again. And people talk about like semen retention superpowers, but it's not superpowers. It's just the fact that the average human is a zombie living in a daze of depletion under hypnosis from electronic devices. So like when you get back to normality of being an actual human being, you're like, oh, it's supposed to feel good. I'm supposed to not be like crippled with anxiety, depression, and binge eating and all this shit. Like I'm supposed to just like, oh, look at like the sun rising and be like, wow, this feels nice just to breathe, just to smell the fresh air. And you feel more confident, you feel more driven because you're not depleted. So you're like, okay, what do I want to do? I have all this energy. I should put it into something. Maybe I'm going to stop working at this job I hate. Maybe it's time for me to make my own income. Maybe it's time for me to do this career I've always wanted to do. You start to take control of your life. And this is important because if you're not taking control of your life, then you are subservient and you're a slave essentially. You know what I mean? So this is ultimately what it's about, is that men are enslaved from this impulsive, constant ejaculation. They're enslaved by we get into the whole rabbit hole of things, but basically a man who is ejaculating every day is castrated. Low testosterone, No self-control, no discipline, just does whatever the fuck he feels like, impulses, which is usually a lot of, junk food, video games, Netflix, porn, masturbation, just instant gratification bullshit. That type of man is easy to control. He's not going to stick up for himself, stick up for his family when things get fucking weird around him. He's going to say, "Well, what can I do? I got my Pornhub." So those are the benefits of semen retention. There are numerous. They are numerous. So this is the thing, guys. This is a lifestyle. So if you choose to practice semen retention, it's about making it a lifestyle. It's not about, okay, it's No Nut November. I'm going to jump on this trend and, yeah, No Nut November. Yeah, I did it. And then, oh, back to porn. Okay, I did it. Now I can go back to ejaculating every day. And oh, thank God that's over with. A lot of people jump on trends like this. You know what I mean? Like semen retention has become a big keyword, and that's great. But a lot of people just jump on this to get their make a viral video, get some attention. Like, yeah, I've been doing semen retention, bro, 300, yeah, and then what? Then they go back to So it's like, how do you make this a sustainable lifestyle? It's about balance. It's about understanding the dynamics of what you're doing, what's happening to your body and mind when you're starting to build up sexual energy, and being able to manage that energy. Making sure my audio is still going on YouTube. Good. There was a time where my audio was cut out, and like 20 minutes later, I look at the chat. People are like, "There's no sound, dude." I'm like, "Fuck!" I've been talking to nobody for a while. Well, I was talking to Instagram. It's all good. Okay, so semen retention lifestyle. Here's the good news. If you're in your 30s, your 40s, and your dick doesn't work anymore, you feel fucking depleted, or older than that, whatever. The good news is that youthful vitality and hormone levels can be restored. Ultimately, it's the best as far as like longevity and aging. It's all about prevention. The younger you become aware of the fact that an ejaculation is costing you something, the better off you're going to be in the long run, because you can start to manage this. And it's not like you have to go the rest of your life without ejaculating. That's not it. That can be equally extreme and like detrimental as far as like your mental sanity, feeling like you failed because you ejaculate after 3 months, then you go back like to porn every day. That's stupid. You've accomplished something. It's just understanding that, again, it's about balance. It's about not emptying that bucket more than you're filling it back up. Honestly, as a man, even if you go a week between ejaculations, if you ejaculate once a week, you are in way better shape than ejaculating every day. If you go 2 weeks, that's even better. So, share a few practical things now. How to make semen retention a sustainable lifestyle. Let me rehydrate. You drink a gallon of water a day, first of all. Have a good reason for doing it. If your reason for practicing semen retention is superficial, if you're just like, well, I heard you get more girls, man. Women are just fucking flocking to you. It does increase your attractiveness, absolutely, because you're no longer this drained fucking porn addict with like sunken eyes. And although, yeah, you radiate life force. You glow. Your skin looks better. Your hair is better. You have more energy. So people will naturally find you more attractive because your energy has this more expansive quality to it. When you're depleted, it's just everything shrunken in. So there is that, but that should not be the reason you practice semen retention. If you're doing it for other people, if you're doing it to get attention, to like, yeah, I'm so fucking cool, I went 1,000 days without ejaculating. If you're doing it to try to impress women, or like, think that you're going to be like a pickup artist all of a sudden because of practicing semen retention, it's a shitty reason. You're doing it for someone else. Essentially, you're a people pleaser. You're trying to seek validation from outside of yourself because you don't feel like you're worthy. It's a lack of self-love, ultimately. That's a whole nother topic. But basically, that's a shitty reason to practice semen retention, and you're going to give up eventually. So for me, I think all the benefits I mentioned, just the heightened energy levels, the mental, spiritual clarity, the increased drive, motivation, testosterone levels, all these things, just like health. And like part of my energetic cultivation path, that's great reason for me to do it. And it's enough to keep me do it keep me doing this for, a decade, the rest of my life. I know I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. It's just it's not a struggle. It's just it's easy now for me, and it can be for anyone. So have a good reason for doing it. That's number 1, because you're going to have the days where you want to just give up, go on Pornhub and, rub off 6 times in a row and then be like, "Well, fuck, that was weird." And it's in those moments that you remember, wait a second, okay, I could just click on bigtittyhose.com and fucking go crazy. Anyone could at any point. But wait a second, why did I do this in the first place? Oh, yeah, it's because every time I go to bigtittyhose.com and jerk off all over the screen and like have to wipe it off for 5 minutes because it's all fucking crusted and shit, I immediately feel regretful and I start to feel shitty and fatigued and depressed. And then I play video games for 5 hours. Then I smoke a bunch of weed, drink, get fucking drunk, and like, oh shit, it's a pretty downward spiral. Oh yeah, that's why I wanted to do this. That's why I practice semen retention. That's why I shouldn't go to bigtittybuttasshose.com and jerk off all over the place, because I'm going to regret it. So maybe in the heat of this moment, I should just cool down. Maybe I'll go like do something else. Okay, that's a good idea. All right, you got me, Jonathan White. You got me. I survive another day. So your reason is the thing that's going to propel you through this ultimately, right? Here's a question: what about for married men? It's equally important. Equally important. Ejaculation is an ejaculation. It's better when you're ejaculating with a partner because there's at least an energetic exchange. But if you're doing it too much, you're still just depleting your battery. So this is something I'll come back to this, but ultimately, one of the other essential things about semen retention is learning to separate orgasm from ejaculation, being able to have non-ejaculatory sex, because then you can fuck your wife's brains out even more so than you could when you're ejaculating, because there's that refractory period. So you're like, okay, well, shit, honey, I gotta wait at least an hour, maybe fucking 3 days, depending how hard it hits you. When you're practicing semen retention, it's like, okay, 24/7, you're good to go. Your sex gets better, your libido gets better. It helps even any like sometimes there's a sexual orgasmic gap between men and women because men tend to be quick. Well, not the fire burns out. It's quick to ignite and quick to be extinguished. Whereas women are water. They are brought to a boil slowly, but once they're hot, baby. They're hot for a while. So this helps balance that gap when there's no longer the dynamic of ejaculation and sex. So I'm glad you asked this. Being married is not an excuse. Okay. So you must change your habits. Everything in your life is a habit. You do things because you did them before. You think about it. Every single action you take, everything you say, it's usually part of your subconscious. You've been talking in a certain way. You've been doing things in a certain way. You've been waking up every morning, going to bigtittystrippers.com and you're used to that. It's an easy thing to do because that is ingrained into your neural net. You're just used to doing the same things over the time. So it's like, yeah, well, 6 p.m. Yeah, oh yeah, I got to see what's on the porn tube. I got to spend 2 hours fucking browsing through a bunch of shit till I find just the right one, and then I can ejaculate. Then it's like, well, fuck, what happened in those 2 hours? Damn. So instead of that, you have to now choose new things to do with your time. Guess what? If you've been, I mean, I remember like again coming back when I was like a teenager, because I didn't get to use the family computer to browse porn very often. But when I did, it was like a fucking porn fest. Like the rare occasion where my parents, my family was leaving, and I got to be like home alone, which it happened a few times. So it was like all weekend I'm like downloading porn, fucking hours just staring at it. And it's like holy shit, like what a waste of my time. Shit. What if I had spent that time like I don't know doing other things? I did spend time practicing guitar and things like that. I got pretty good at that, so at least there's that. But like I could have gotten a lot better if I wasn't spending hours at a time on porn. So it's a reclamation of your time and your energy. All this energy you've just been like sending here, there. You fucking pull it back in and say, okay, hold on a second. Should I really be doing all these things just because I've been doing them before? Should I really be going out to fucking drinks all the time? Spending hours playing video games just doing bullshit that's not really actually developing me at all. Maybe I should pick some new habits. How about that? So pick some new things. Where do you want to? Here's ultimately the question: is what do you want? How do you want to feel? Where do you want to be in your life? What do you want to do? What do you enjoy doing? Like, what skills do you have, or what skills would you like to develop? Start asking yourself these questions, because when you're just floating through life, just fucking, well, yeah, I work down at the local office, and it's all right, but shit, I get drunk at the weekend, and that's fun. Oh dang, like, just floating through life. That's not life. That's slavery. So get very clear on what you want, and then ask yourself, okay, how can I start to work towards this every day? So you should schedule these things in. All right, I want to get my body in better shape. Fucking go to the gym. Start picking up that weight and cranking it. Go for hikes, join a martial arts class, yoga class, meditation, qigong, what the hell ever. Just pick some things and put them in your schedule and say, okay, instead of jerking off to porn, I'm going to go to the gym and work out. I'm going to follow one of Jonathan White's qigong videos on his YouTube qigong playlist. There's a ton of them. So change your habits. Pick new habits. Get up in the morning. Keep your phone off. Keep your phone off until you finish your morning routine. Maybe that's a cold shower and a meditation. Maybe it's a walk in nature. Maybe it's reading a book. For me, it's 3 hours of qigong and meditation practice, tai chi, whatever. And then I turn on my phone. I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to start my day. It doesn't have to be that extreme, but at least have like 20, 30 minutes to yourself, kind of doing something, and then get into the day. And if you pick your phone up at first thing in the morning and you're on fucking Instagram, God forbid, if you're on fucking OnlyFans and PornTube, like, your day's fucked. Your day's fucked. You are not in control of your life. You are just like a slave to impulses. So it's time to change that habit, because if you want to get anywhere, you're not going to get there by doing the same unconscious shit you've been doing over and over and over. That's what's keeping you where you're at in the first place. So productivity is important. Change your habits. Start being productive. Start getting things done. Find some creative outlets to put your energy into. Maybe you start writing. You learn a musical instrument. You study business, marketing, whatever. Just have some creative outlets to put your energy into. Because here's the thing: you're building up all this energy. This is why men fail at semen retention. Why they go back to jerking off every day is because they can't handle the increased energy that they're building up, because they're used to just dispersing it. So now it's like their energetic input is increased, their energy levels up, and they don't have more things to do with that energy, and it just kind of cooks you. You feel unsettled. You feel like you feel antsy, and it feels uncomfortable because you're not doing anything with that energy. You need projects. You need to build something with that energy. If you just sit there building it up, it fucking cooks you. And then guess what? You're back on bigtittyhose.com jerking off to porn again. And like, well, shit. All right. So you have to have bigger things to put that energy into to stay balanced. If you're not doing that, if you're doing the same old shit and trying to like practice semen retention, wondering why it's not working out, got to think bigger, bro. Got to mobilize that energy. You got to fucking put the work in. All right. This is a good opportunity for me to pour myself a nice cup of dandelion root coffee. Okay. Now, kind of, another very important part, in fact, probably one of the most important aspects of semen retention, is you got to circulate that sexual energy, bro. You got to move it out of your balls. If it's just sitting there in your balls, just making you hornier and hornier, your balls start turning blue. Every woman around you becomes a 10. Your dick's a loaded gun. You got to move that energy. Otherwise, it just, again, amplifies these lower energy centers, and you get overwhelmed with lust and obsessiveness and just ego stuff. So circulate that energy. This is what makes the energy more useful. This is why one of the first things in sexual kung fu is the practice of the microcosmic orbit. You must establish a new pathway for that sexual energy to flow in. Because once you get familiar with that sexual energy flowing through your body, Instead of it only having an outward pathway, now it has an internal recycling pathway. That's important because now, guess what that energy is going to want to do? It's going to want to move through your body, to move through the higher energy centers, to be uh, consolidated, integrated into your brain, amplifying your thought process, your intelligence, bringing up into the organs, the heart, the glands. The microcosmic orbit connects to everything, all the energy channels, all the glands and organs of the body. So now you're charging yourself up with sexual energy, turning it into chi, turning it into useful creative energy rather than just horny, heavy energy in your balls. Now you're moving it. And that is what's going to help you feel much more productive, much more ambitious, much more like driven in your life. See, I was doing this from the beginning when I was learning this stuff. And I think that's why I just semen retention became very easy for me, is because I was constantly moving and circulating that energy. And this also sets the stage for what I was talking about before of learning to have sex or self pleasure, whatever, without ejaculating, learning to have orgasms without ejaculating, which is going to be different than the ejaculatory orgasm experience. It's a whole, it's a different realm of experience. It's not a release. It's an internal building and resonance. So by opening up the body, changing your response to sexual arousal and stimulation so that you are not only driven to have peak ejaculatory orgasms. Well, this solves the issue that Homeboy was asking about. What if you're married? Or if you're in a relationship? Because it's easy to do semen retention when you're single, and then you get in a relationship, have sex. It's like, well, okay, just fucking let it rip. All right, here we go. Here we go, baby. Let's just let it rip like we did before. And that's cool. It's fun. But then you're back at square one. So you got to, and this is really the path of mastery is like, like just for example, yesterday, I had an amazing sex session with my wife, uh, drew the energy through my body. That was how I started my day. And then I went to the park and I crushed like 3.5 hours. I'm out there doing Qigong, doing Tai Chi, doing my cultivation, and then, busy, productive. So, like, rather than like if you have sex and ejaculate, then it's like, oh, fuck, well, now I'm spent. I got to sleep. It's just totally different. Sex becomes something that charges you up. So, and this also solves the great issue of like, well, fuck, like, yeah, sure, semen retention sounds great, but like, I can't be abstinent. That was my issue when I was first hearing about this in like brahmacharya and stuff. It's like, okay, bro, yeah, have fun with that. Yeah, I'm gonna live in a cave and never think about sex. Like, that's surely why I came into the human body, to not experience sex. So you get the best of both worlds, because I believe sex is powerfully rejuvenative, restoring, it's healing. However, when you ejaculate every time, you're losing it. You're blowing that wad. You're losing that charge. So when you're able to retain during sex, you integrate that energy with your system. It charges you the fuck up. You feel awesome. No problem. No problem. So ultimately, that's it, guys. That's it. You do these things, study the sexual kung fu system, have a daily practice. But that's the most important thing: is do qigong every day, do breath work, meditation, do some sort of practice to keep your chi moving, cultivating, building, circulating. That is the path of mastery. If you don't do that, you're just going to get real stagnant and stuck, and eventually you're going to ejaculate, like go back to your old habits, your daily ejaculation. So, all right. And one last thing I want to share here is like, if you do ejaculate, don't worry about it. It doesn't mean you've lost everything. That's not how it works. Eh, So don't bitch about it. Don't. I relapsed, and I guess I might as well just give up and jerk off to porn 6 more times. No, fucking okay. I ejaculated. Big fucking deal. I went a week. I've my net gain. I'm at a net gain here. It's like I put 6 drops in the bucket. I lost 1 drop. Hey, I'm at a net gain. Let's keep going. That's how it is. So it's not about like either you ejaculate once and you fail and it's all over and like, yeah, you're fucked, bro. You might as well give up. No, it's about overall you're ejaculating less. You're building more energy than you're losing, and that is the path. That's the path. And again, it gets easy. So you don't have to be obsessed about never ever fucking ejaculate. You can't even enjoy sex. It's stupid. It's contracted. The focus becomes on learning how to integrate this energy through your body, open up your energy channels so that it becomes natural for you to not want to ejaculate during sex. And it becomes natural for you to desire the high charge of sexual energy in your body. And that becomes your baseline. And yeah, there's an adjustment period, but Once you're there, game over, man. You win the game. You got the cheat codes. Semen retention is the cheat code, no doubt about it. Okay. I'm going to answer questions now. Feel free to type in your questions, but I want to mention that if you're, again, you want to jump on this journey, you're like, okay, I'm getting serious about semen retention. I want to make it a lifestyle. I've got tons of resources on my YouTube channel, lots of videos. But if you want like one of the best resources, I recently created a course on semen retention, the semen retention lifestyle course, where I go much more into depth about everything I've been talking about, and share like a lot of the practices for having non-ejaculatory sex, for circulating your energy through your body, managing your sexual energy, all these things. That's a semen retention course. I'm offering it for 35% off, having a sale right now through the weekend. So through Sunday night of this weekend, what's that? November 12th. So sign up for that, get 35% discount. There's a link in the description of this YouTube video. There's a link in my Instagram bio. So check out the semen retention course. Again, I essentially wanted to create like what I wish I'd had from the very beginning, just like everything you need to practice semen retention sustainably, essentially. So check that out. It's there. Get that through the weekend. Boom, baby. Okay. Anderson Bruno's asking, what are the best practices to do during the day? Any of them. I do qigong, I do meditation, I do tai chi, xingyi, bagua, mantis, all kinds of shit. I do some yoga. I lift weights. I do breath work. Fucking a lot. Yeah. Pick some of those. Ideally, I think physical exercise and energetic exercise. You want to balance those things when you're doing semen retention. It's good to move your body. It's good to like get yourself in shape and be healthy, but that's not going to transmute the energy. That will help burn off some of the excessive energy you have, just the raw physical energy. But you also want to do qigong to build your chi, to open up channels, and to be able to circulate, refine that energy. So do qigong, physical exercise, meditation. You're good, son. You're good. Oh, all right. Tap in your questions. Hey, Lottie. Yeah, I save all of my lives that I do. You can catch them on. I believe they're in Instagram. There's a way to access them on Instagram. I forget how because I don't spend much time on Instagram personally. They're all on my YouTube channel as well. If you go to my Sexual Kung Fu YouTube, you go to my lives. Every live I've done is in there. Shit, I've been doing this. I've been doing these for like since like 2018, 2019. Roy says, okay, after days of semen retention, I had an ejaculatory orgasm. Afterwards, my mind felt calmer and was able to be funnier and chill with people. Why can this good? Why? Oh, why? Okay, so you felt a little more balanced after ejaculating. Here's the thing: kind of gets more depth of semen retention because it's easy to like the kind of a lot of people present this as like, yeah, the longer you go, the more benefits you get, the more better, the more better you feel, the better you feel. Everything just gets better and better. The more days you go, the better. It doesn't really work like that. Here's a all right. Here's an analogy. I just happen to have this balloon. Don't ask me why I have balloons just lying around, but I actually use them for like uh, diaphragm. It's good to exhale balloons when you're doing like certain core engagements to help the diaphragm release properly. Most people's diaphragms are really tense. Okay, here's the analogy. You're born. We'll say this is your gene. This is your life force. This balloon. You're born with this much. Okay, there's your life force, and like you start ejaculating and oh, there's some. Okay, I still feel good. Oh, there's some. All right, I'm still feeling good. Oh, oh, there's three. Oh, God, I'm ejaculating every day. By the time you're, I don't know, 20, 30 years old, oh, shit. Now I can't get it up. Now I'm limp. Now I have anxiety, depression, addiction. You spent your gene. This is a little oversimplification. So now you start practicing semen retention. Here's the first week. Oh, I have some inflation again. Okay. And then you ejaculate. Oh, damn it. I'm back. Okay. So what happens though is as you're practicing semen retention more and more, like as you're not saying like you go a year straight, but let's say this is year one, where like, okay, I built up some energy. It's been a month and now I ejaculate. Okay, I feel my energy is less, but I'm still not this baseline of complete deflation. So now I go another month. Now I have more. Oh, ejaculation. I lost some. Oh, okay. But so I don't know if this is helpful. It's just something to see that it's not like an everything or nothing thing. It's again coming back to that, like, let's say a week is putting a drop back in the bucket, and every ejaculation is costing you a drop, or it's costing you 3 drops, whatever. So if you go a month, you're putting 4 drops in the bucket and you ejaculate, you lose 1 or 2 drops. So it's like it puts you back a bit, but you're still overall, again, this net gain. The Taoists had certain formulas of this. So we're like saying, uh, if you're in your 20s, you should go at least 4 days between ejaculations. Because if you go less than that, you stay at that deflated state. If you go above that, you stay at a baseline, and if you go even longer, you get a bit more. So and here's the thing: is when you're fully inflated, you have a lot of sexual energy built up, and it has this amplifying effect. And guess what? If you are kind of a nervous, agitated person, it can amplify that. It's when you're retaining for longer periods of time, there you sometimes experience agitation of your nervous system because you have more chi, more stimulation of that spinal pathway, which is connected to the sympathetic nervous system. So you feel more like charged. And you can actually have too much of this. For some men, this becomes unbalancing, which is why an occasional ejaculation, like you said, you actually feel better afterwards. And this can balance that. So it's not a completely black or white thing. It's not like a yes, you have to go forever without ejaculating, and ejaculating at all is death. It's not that. It's it's about balance and harmony. Again, I've studied a lot of like the ancient Taoist texts of the sexual classics, the Yellow Emperor's classics, the Plain Girl, Peng Zhu, these kind of people. And the common thing I've seen is that trying to go for too long without ejaculating can be as detrimental as ejaculating every day. Because for some people, it kind of drives them crazy and they get overstimulated, insomnia, angry, irritability, excessive sympathetic nervous system engagement. So that's why there's so many practices in sexual kung fu to ground, to balance your system, to be able to handle this. But again, if you're a healthy, relatively youthful person, like you're in the 30s or 40s and you're in good health, like there's really, in my opinion, no reason to go longer than a month without ejaculating, because you can actually, for me, I've talked about this, how if I go longer than a month, my testosterone actually tends to get lower. My erection quality diminishes. And so, it's about balance here. It's about balance. More dandelion root coffee. Oh. Okay. King Copo Copo on YouTube is asking, orgasm without ejaculation, does some semen still end up in the bladder? If yes, how do we avoid that? Okay. So this occurs definitely during retrograde ejaculation. There's a lot of misunderstanding about male non-ejaculatory orgasm and different techniques. The most common techniques people teach is like basically hit the edge and squeeze the pelvic floor muscles to hold in, and you have this like either you have this like minor ejaculatory type of orgasm and you don't ejaculate, or you have a retrograde ejaculation. So the semen simply backs up into the bladder and then you urinate it out. So you've lost it, which is pointless. It's completely pointless. Um, so that's more the like squeeze and hold, riding the edge. It's a peak orgasm type of non-ejaculatory orgasm, if you even achieve it, right? I used to do these. I got good at it, but like ultimately, I pretty much gave it up because like it's just The orgasms are, yeah, they're all right, but it's genital centered, and I get a lot more out of the more energetic full body orgasm, which comes from circulating the energy upwards. And when you're doing this, you're not necessarily at the edge of ejaculating. Like you don't need to be at 99.9%. You can be at like 70% and have this full body orgasmic experience. You're going in a whole different direction than the ejaculatory buildup, which is really a tension buildup in your prostate region. So if you're using these methods where you're like right on the edge of ejaculating, yeah, you're likely going to end up with some semen in your bladder. And if it's a little bit, it's not that big of a deal. But if you want to know how to prevent it, don't stay at the edge. Hover at like 70, 80% and really focus on drawing the energy up, being really sensitive to the pleasure that is you are experiencing. Okay. Mayra says, ashwagandha made my penis numb and has caused erectile dysfunction. What to do? Are you sure that it was from ashwagandha? Like there could have been a lot of other, I would really look into other things in your life and narrow down where that's really coming from. But maybe you did just have a crazy reaction to ashwagandha. This may be more of a question for like a specialist who can really, kind of dive into. I'm sure there's a lot of other factors here. Spazio World says, can over masturbation cause pelvic floor problems? Yes, but I would say rather than like over masturbation, it's more so poor masturbation habits. Specifically, the tendency, and I used to do this like exclusively. A lot of us get in the habit of squeezing the pelvic floor muscles during sex or during sexual stimulation because it makes the penis feel more sensitive. So like it feels better and it brings you closer to ejaculation quickly, brings you right up to that edge very quickly. And often in our teenage years, it's like, okay, I gotta get this done fast before mom walks in. And so you get in the habit of basically bringing yourself to ejaculation quickly. And so this pattern, uh, it locks tension into your pelvic floor. It creates an overly sympathetic response, an overly basically tension response in your nervous system to sexual stimulation, and can lock up the pelvic floor with a lot of tension. So that can certainly contribute to pelvic floor issues. Fresh Lord says, what to do when I have a strong ass urge? Embrace it. Say, fuck yeah. This is like the first thing is just feel it. What does that feel like? This is the whole thing is like we spend our life running from things. We spend our life running from feelings, we're trying to avoid things. And again, when you're practicing, like the common tendency on semen retention is like you start to make urges your enemy. Like there's something bad, like there's something wrong with me because I still have sexual urges. Well, guess what? As long as you live on this planet, you're gonna have sexual urges. See it as a good thing. It's like your body's healthy. You have hormones, you have sexual vitality. That's great. Now it's about what does that urge drive you to do? That's what really defines you, and that's what defines the situation. It's not about the urge or not. Like you're always going to have them. It doesn't fucking matter. It's do you let that urge drive you to do stupid shit? You just cave into it. You know what I mean? That's poor discipline. It's poor willpower. So you got to exercise that. You got to exercise your discipline, your willpower. And what I recommend you do is when you feel that urge, rather than fighting it or instantly caving into it, you feel it. First of all, just sit there, just sit and breathe. Breathe into your belly, breathe into your balls, and feel it. Amplify it. Make it 100 times stronger by focusing on it. Say, okay, what does this really feel like? What does this really feel like? I'm going to allow myself to feel this fully. Is it really that bad? And then feel yourself not acting on it. Say, okay, I feel the urge to watch porn, and you know what? I'm not going to. I'm going to go for a walk instead. I'm going to do 20 push-ups instead. I'm going to do a meditation, qigong, or have a conversation with a friend. And then you observe yourself still having the urge maybe and doing the other thing. Like, what does that feel like? What does it feel like to not cave into it? Maybe it intensifies, but guess what? That's you exercising your willpower and your discipline. And this is ultimately what it is like, it's always a choice that you make. You're always choosing to get, like, don't pretend like you're a victim. Don't say like, well, someone else is making me do this, or well, I just, it's like you're fucking doing it. You're making the decision every single time to do it. And it's easy because you've allowed it to be easy because you've done it so many times. And if you simply start practicing not doing it, guess what? Pretty soon that's going to become the easy thing to do. This is ultimately what it's about. Practice your discipline, practice your willpower. Drew Bryant, thanks, brother. Royov says the increased confidence around women when in semen retention is only because of increased testosterone levels. No, I think that it's because of a lot of things. Like, yeah, sure, that's a contributing factor, but it's like just overall, when you don't feel depleted, when you have more energy, you feel better. You feel better about yourself. Because when you feel fucking empty, you just become like a vacuum and like it sucks everything around you into you. And you're like worried, like, what do they think about me? You become more self conscious. And when you recharge your battery, when you're glowing with this energy, you have more respect for yourself. You have more confidence in yourself because of that. And just your your brain chemistry becomes a bit more balanced. You're not this like low of like, that dopamine peak from porn and then the sharp drop. You're at a better baseline level. There's many factors to it. Michael Miller's looking for bait buds. Is this okay? Hey, whatever, man. Whatever it is you want to do on your journey, that's great. Michael Miller's looking for bait buds. Any bait buds out there, hit up Michael Miller. Rohan, our piece is when doing semen retention, I usually get wet dreams at the 2-week mark. Is it not worth doing more than 2 weeks? It depends. I'm curious how old you are. If you're in like your early 20s, then yeah, maybe 2 weeks is all your body can do right now. But also, make sure if you see my video on preventing wet dreams, one of the recent ones I made earlier this year, I share a lot of advice in there. Um, and if you're doing all those things and you're still having wet dreams, then maybe it's as long as your body wants to go right now. But um, it could be there could be varying factors to this. Like maybe you're getting too warm at night, maybe your penis is getting stimulated during the sheets at night, or things like that. Maybe you're not circulating your sexual energy. It's there's a lot of factors there. Jackson's saying ways to absorb environmental chi. Chi from the trees, the earth, the air, etc. Ooh, ooh, ooh. All right. It's practice time. I'm going to share a cool thing with you guys. What's going to help is to really open up your Lao Gong points, your palm, and your kidney 1 point on the sole of the foot. And really, once you cultivate, your whole palm essentially becomes Lao Gong, and your whole foot becomes bubbling well, essentially. But okay, so for the sole of the foot, look up kidney 1 point, the yang chuan on the sole of your foot, and you want to basically press it with your thumb, like kind of acupress it on each side, and then just sit there and imagine each yang chuan point is a nostril, and as you inhale, it's like it's breathing in, and as you exhale, it's like it's breathing out. Practice this for a while. You'll start to feel the chi moving. It starts to feel like almost like air, like this bubbling happening at that point. Then do the same thing with your Lao Gong points, palm of the hand. Basically, if you close your fingers like this, where some people say where the ring finger, some people say the middle finger, but right in that spot area, you'll press in with your thumb and you'll find a tender spot there, and you'll feel Lao Gong. So do the same thing on both hands. Let's do some qigong. That's what it's really about. That's what my real passion is. I just want to get everyone to do qigong. Fucking love it, man. Gets me high as fuck. Okay. Lao Gong is activated. So you want to kind of stretch open just a little bit, not like, but just like think of lengthening your fingers, opening up the space between the joints a little bit, and either rest the palms face up on your knees or just hold your arms out facing the ground. Same thing as you inhale, it's like there's a nostril in each palm. As you inhale, there's like a suction. You create that with your mind. Exhale, it's like you're breathing out. Inhale, sucking in. Exhale, projecting out. All right. So spend some, do at least 5 minutes, Yang Chuan points, 5 minutes Lao Gong. Let's take it to the next level. Now you can inhale and exhale both at the same time. Part of your mind in the Dantian. This will be really powerful if you've done the Dantian work. If you have a Dantian activated, developed, this energy center in your belly, check out my Dantian breathing video for a really nice technique that will start to build that. This will amp up the chi 10 times. Your Dantian's it's your battery and your engine of your energy body. If you don't have one, like, what the fuck you doing, bro? What the fuck you doing? Build your Dantian. What the hell you been doing? It's all right. I dicked around for 3 years in Qigong before I understood how to really build a Dantian. And then my practice really took off. That's when I felt like the tangible blast of chi through my body. It's fucking awesome. Okay, so now we hold the mind in the Dantian. Keep your mind centered there. Palms are gently extended. You can do kind of the same thing with your toes as well, just a little bit of an extension. You can even lift up the heel of your foot and kind of press the ball of the foot into the ground. That will help kind of pressurize the kidney at one point. And now mind in the Dantian and feel like there's a suction originating from the Dantian as you inhale. And that's pulling in from the palm points, from the feet points. And you exhale. It's like you're projecting from the Dantian out the palms and the feet. So you have to practice absorbing your mind into multiple parts of the body. It'll feel difficult at first, then it just becomes natural. Create like intense suction, really amp it up with your mind. Yeah. Feels good. Okay. So practice that. You just kind of develop the pathway, activate. Really, it'll take some time to really awaken and activate the Yang Chuan and the Lao Gong points, especially in the connection with the Dan Tian. But once you do, boom. And then guess what? You're in the park, fucking stand on the ground, palms of the tree, suck that chi in, exhale the bad chi out. It's badass. Yeah, then you can absorb the chi from whatever you want. You can also do it through your skin, through pore breathing, which is like as you inhale, it's like every pore of your body is like a nostril, and it's you're inhaling it in into your bones, into your bone marrow. Oh, that'll make it thick. And as you exhale, it's like you're releasing a cloud of smoke, old pathogenic chi, like a cloud of smoke out of every cell, every pore of your body. If you're out in nature doing this, it'll make you sparkly clean. So you inhale through every pore in your body. And the same thing, feel like a suction coming from your Dantian. It's like all of your pores. You can kind of rub your arms and legs to really gain that body awareness. You're inhaling, inhaling and sucking in from every pore. It's like you're really sucking the environmental chi into your body. Then exhale with a little bit of emphasis on the exhale. It's like you're blowing on a candle or something out the nose, and like you're pushing out clouds of smoke from your pores. Breathing in through the pores. Breathing out through the pores. All right. You now have some pretty fucking awesome methods. I mean, shit, that could be your Qigong practice. This is fucking great shit. Yeah, do that. Do it sitting down, do it standing up, do it out in nature, do it in the park, whatever. Gonna cultivate your chi, son. The whole thing, though, is you got to do it. All right. Luke Anthony Music, what's up, brother? Thank you. Rohan RP says, can you differentiate between different types of male multiple orgasm, like prostate, genital, centric, full body orgasm, mindgasm, using their methodologies, and also based on the one you teach and other safer ways? Okay, so um, well, the most common male multiple orgasm, what I mentioned earlier, is basically like squeeze and hold technique. Like basically hit the point of ejaculation, then stop stimulation entirely. Squeeze your PC muscles. You can also relax. I've actually used this method and taught it as well, where you relax right when you hit the point of no return and like breathe deeply, relax entirely, and you'll have like a little bit of a genital center orgasm. And, it feels nice. The more common was you squeeze the pelvic floor muscles right after hitting the point of no return and stop stimulation. And if you hit it right, again, you get this like genital centered orgasm, spasming in the prostate, but you don't ejaculate. And you can do those many times in a row. Yeah, they're nice. They feel good. But again, ultimately, these methods are, this is what most people are teaching as male multiple orgasm. And it's true. Yeah, it is a male multiple orgasm, but it's very limited. When I'm talking about non-ejaculatory orgasm, I'm talking about more of a valley orgasm, I guess, would be more of the terminology as far as what's been used before. Um, because it's more like a wash of pleasure that you arise into, which happens to most of us during sex anyways. But when you really become aware of it, you can really surrender to it more and intensify it more and just allow it to take you over and just gets this like, oh, just like, oh, like sometimes it's like just the other day, I was just kind of drawing energy up, just had this like orgasm in my spine. Like first I hit my brain with it and it was like, brain orgasm, felt amazing. Then my spine there was like this electricity in my spine. It was just like, I'm like, oh yeah, spinegasm. That was nice. And you can have orgasms anywhere in your body. I've had heart orgasms, belly orgasms. I've had orgasm in my thigh before, where my thigh just started like twitching. It was like, oh, yeah. Full body orgasm is basically this. Just you feel it in your full body. There's like cosmic orgasms, I would call it, where like I feel like that extends. It kind of feels like I'm ejaculating out the crown of my head, just this like blast of my consciousness, a blast of energy out the crown. Like my whole body feels like a penis, the whole spine feels like a penis, and it's just like ejaculating out the crown of my head. And I've had the experiences where like, I go like fucking DMT trip psychedelic, where my consciousness just expands, just like boom out into the universe. You go multidimensional. You like shit's gotten real weird. I'll just say that. Yeah, we could call that a cosmic orgasm. Prostate orgasm, and there's overlap between a lot of these. Like prostate orgasm is definitely full body orgasm. It's very cosmic as well, but it's a different flavor. It's a different pathway. There's a very like yin inward, it's like an implosion, like an explosion inward inside of yourself, but it's also like an explosion outward simultaneously, and it's fucking insane. Prostate orgasms are crazy. And in mindgasm, this is uh, it's an app. Basically, it's basically the same thing as like what I'm talking about, prostate orgasm, which usually requires you stick a prostate massager up your ass. Like Aneros is a great one, and you just do these certain pelvic floor contractions while maintaining arousal. And after months of practice, usually it takes a while for most people. It took me years personally. You get that insane prostate orgasm I was just talking about. Mindgasm it's pretty much the same thing, because you're doing the exact same pelvic floor kind of. I mean, they're very like formulaic, like specifically the BC muscle, the PC muscle, the IC muscle, isolating these to get those involuntary contractions, which can lead up to it's pretty much the same as the prostate orgasm, because you're stimulating that area. Yeah. Yeah, I would say I made a course on prostate orgasm called Cosmic Orgasm, and I would say that the Mindgasm app, it would be a good supplement to learning the prostate orgasm if you're interested in it. It's decent. It's very subtle. Affairs director says, "What's the difference in sensation when you have a self multiple orgasm and with a woman?" Well, it really varies, because for me, these types of orgasm, like these full body orgasm experiences, they're very different every time. It's like the valley orgasm. It's a very non-linear type of experience. It's not something you can like force to happen. It just happens, and like it happens more when you're sensitive, when your body's opened up, and you're not trying to make it happen. And so it's different every time. And just if doing it by myself, it's different all the time. So with a woman, it's going to be different too. So it just very, but obviously, I mean, the difference in sensation is that you have another body there. So like the energy is amplified, at least twice. It's tripled usually because a whole nother person's nervous system, their chi flow, I mean the polarity between you as well. It's just the sensation of their body. So it's quite different. It's more exciting usually. Um, and it's going to be a different experience. And there's also usually a like I found my self stimulation practices versus like with a woman. It's actually more balancing with a woman because it tends to be. I learned how to like balance it more on my own, but it's that yin yang dynamics. It's that fire water baby, and I found you can really exchange your energy with a partner. My partner's yin energy really supplements and helps to kind of cool my sexual fire. Rick Sesker says how to open up the energy channels. Practice qigong. And now here's I'm gonna share a little something about terminology here, just because one of my teachers I study with has this very anal about like all the specific kind of terminology and blah 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 context. Uh, the word opening up is interesting because first of all, it implies that our energy channels are closed. If our energy channels are closed, we're dead. They're always flowing. There's always a degree of flow, and so it's really about balancing and potentially intensifying the flow through the channels themselves. But from this teacher's terminology, to open the energy channels means to dilate them. Like so, like let's say this is a silly example. It's like okay, your your governor channel, the right angle here. Your governor channel is open this much, and when you're born, it's open this much, and through life, you get obstructions, contractions, it gets smaller and smaller. So like usually with qigong, a successful good cultivation practice, most systems like, yeah, okay, I get it back to how it was at birth. Nice. But like kind of the alchemical and a lot of Negong systems, the focus is to like, I think dilate is a better word of like opening that channel up more and more beyond what it was at birth, which requires high degree of pressurization of chi. You need a lot of chi pressure to do this because just whatever chi you have already, just moving through the channel, this is the most common practice is like just chi circulations, like just moving your mind through the microcosmic orbit. What this does is it gathers whatever chi you already have and moves it through that pathway. So that's usually not going to be enough to like open it beyond the birth capacity or normal capacity of it. But what it will do is start to kind of clear some of the the garbage, the blocks in it, kind of wear them away like water wearing through a rock, to where eventually it becomes back to like how it was at your birth. Nice open, but kind of the more intense Neigong practices are pressurizing the chi. This is where the Dantian work is important for is because again, when you're doing like the most common Qigong systems of like not a whole lot of Dantian work, just kind of like, yeah, I'm doing some Qigong forms, I'm sitting doing the microcosmic orbit. It's great. You're going to get benefits. You're going to get better chi flow, but what you will not get is an intensification, a concentration, and pressurization of your chi. To do that requires a lot of dawn chain work. It takes fucking years. It takes forever. It's a very tedious, long process. But when you get it going, it's pretty badass. We're basically because again, coming back to that, the dawn tien being the battery and the engine of your energy body. It's also kind of this cauldron space, and with practices you're bringing more and more chi, you're putting more and more drops into that bucket, and you're also pressurizing it. It's like you put it in, you pack it down, and you bring more in, you pack it in, and your chi gets really fucking thick, really compressed. That's when you start having like the tangible microcosmic orb, like holy shit, feels like there's hydraulic fluid pumping through my spine. It took me a while to get there. And when you're doing that, pressurizing the chi to that level, that's what's going to open and pressurize your channel system. And I teach some of that stuff in my Immortal Energy Arts online academy, immortalenergyarts.com. And of course, I teach the basic like Dantian building and moving through the energy channels and all my courses, my main courses, Sex God being the most up to date one. So yeah, that's how you open your energy channels, son. That's the real, that it's cool that qigong is becoming more and more popular. Like more and more people are becoming aware of this, but like the quality of information hasn't. There's a lot of like a lot of surface level teaching, just to be quite blunt with it, and it's okay. It's how it is with anything. Um, most people don't like. For most people, they get into these like qigong yoga. It's just kind of it's like their hobby. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I do it now and then, and it's nice, and yeah, inner peace and harmony with the universe. Yeah, that's cool. But then there's like you're a cultivator. Like you're doing it hours a day for fucking years, and like your chi pressure is like 1,000 times what most people will ever experience. And it's like it's crazy, and that's really fucking hard work. That's discipline, dedication. That's kicking your ass, you're sweating balls and like your legs are shaking and you're like, fuck, it's intense. That's what qigong is, in my opinion. That's like, it's kind of like there's the qigong for seniors. Qigong for seniors, like, yeah, I'm waving my arms around. I'm at one with the universe. Okay, I do that for 20 minutes a day, every couple days, and it's nice. Like, yeah, okay, you'll get some benefit to that, but like, if you want to like fucking, you want immortality, baby, you want a fully engaged energy body, you feel chi blasting through your palms, blasting up your spine, like that takes years and years of practice. And, very, very small percent of people ever do that. All right, guys, just a few more questions. Market Mondre says, I can find them in the link in bio. There's a link there's the free energy upgrade course. That's more the flavor of the stuff I'm talking about, the Qigong stuff. And that will also kind of take you into Immortal Energy Arts, uh, my Qigong Academy, more or less. Qigong, Neigong. Ah. Royov says, I feel the energy literally circulating after ejaculating. Does that mean that it was more stuck before ejaculation? I mean, there can be. Here's another thing is that one benefit of ejaculation for men is it does tend to release a lot of liver heat. In Chinese medicine, liver, when you're stagnant sexual energy can cause a lot of like basically stagnant liver chi and like liver heat where you're feeling angry, frustrated, irritable, get stuck in your head. So that I think that's kind of in line with what you're talking about, where you feel the energy circulating. And for me personally, when it's time for an ejaculation, like it's 6 weeks or whatever, like I don't just like, okay, just fucking get it done. Like, no, like it's a whole process for me. Like I'm like, okay, I need usually it's like an hour of sex, an hour of and I'm like drawing the energy, store it in the body, store it in the body. So by the time it does come, no pun intended, um, to let it rip, it's like shooting on an empty shell. And like then it happens like and it often kind of like cuts off halfway and just like stops. And I'm like, huh, I guess all right, that's it. All right. And it doesn't feel like I've lost anything. Because again, you program this powerful suction upwards in your body. It's a big thing I'm focusing on the sex god program is how to create this suction, this spinal suction, pumping sexual energy up your spine that like yeah you store the energy and like just the physical substance is kind of discarded and like you don't lose much. Okay, another question. What is your best spiritual practice that makes you feel balanced, that makes you balanced the most? Well, it's not really as simple as that. I mean, it's a simple question, but it's not really because like fuck. What I would consider spiritual practices for me is probably Nadon, Taoist internal alchemical practices. I've studied a lot of different systems of it, but and I've put together most of what I've learned, but the best I've learned is what Michael Wynn teaches. I've never seen anything like the alchemy he's teaching. Like it just goes way, 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 way deeper than uh, any other alchemical practices I've come across in the world. And so that work can be very balancing, but it can also be very intense. Like fuck. For example, I had this experience of I'm meditating for a long time, and I feel like I tap into this. Uh, I guess how to explain this. It's an inner dimension. It's an inner dimension that you could say it's the dimension of oneness. Tai Yi. So in the kind of the Taoist cosmological model, there's Wuji, the supreme chaos, which is everything and nothingness. It's like this black viscous everything nothingness. It's complete chaos, and it can't really. The whole thing is like, well, Wuji, it cannot be explained. It's unknowable. Wuji more or less translates to like great mystery or unknowable. And that's like the original source as far as like what we're able to comprehend from this point of view. And then from Wuji was birthed Tai Yi, which is kind of an individual entity, we could say, that was birthed from Wuji. Tai Yi is it's a realm of oneness, complete unconditional love, clear light realm, basically, a being that stepped itself down further to create polarity. So that's like the Taoist cosmology. The one became the two split into the three, five elements, 8 trigram forces. Um, So from Tai Yi came polarity. First, early heaven, 5 elements, and then later crystallized deeper into later heaven. They consider the physical plane to be a heaven realm, which I like that view. And so there's this constant interaction between Wuji, Tai Yi, later heaven, early heaven, this inner circle, and it's all within us. We have these portals within our body that connect us back to source. A little bit of like context because like to say like, yeah, I just meditate and I go into oneness, like what the fuck does that really mean? Maybe just sitting there in your head imagining it, right? You know what I mean? Like yeah. So I feel like I penetrated into Tai, into the realm of oneness. It's a realm of, again, clear light. It's hard to put this into words, but it's a realm of sound, sonic, because at higher levels there's no physical form anymore. There's no light even. It's sound, and it's pure experiential. So I'm in there in the realm of sound. Like I mentioned recently on one of these lives, my experience where I'm listening to the sound current and it starts penetrating into my crown, and it crystallizes into Jing in my upper dantian, my Niwan. Like it felt like this thick drop of golden something, honey, just dripping down, then hitting my dantian, boom, blasting it. Interesting alchemical experience. So basically I come out of Tai. I'm in this realm of like complete oneness, it's bliss. It's just like, oh God, it's beyond words. It's like an orgasmic ocean of just of bliss, of ecstasy, of merging. There's like a sexual orgasmic feeling to it. It's just like this, it's an ocean. It's like a liquid quality where it's just, you're a single organism. It's oneness. It's what it feels like. It's amazing. Anyways, and I'm coming back to stepping back down into this dimension, into my body. And it felt really heavy to be back here. It was like, oh fuck, like this place is kind of fucked up. There's a lot of shit going on here. So it really threw me off for like a few days because I had this like beautiful experience, and then come back to like, that's a whole nother skill. Because okay, here's another interesting point about like Taoist alchemy and like specifically this practice I'm talking about. A lot of spiritual paths, it's like a one-way trip. It's like, well, I need to get back to source. I need to get out of my physical body back to heaven. That's it. Then I'm complete. It's like, okay, but like ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, it's a two-way trip. The upper dimensions, we could say that the heavenly realms, they created this realm. Why? It's stepped themselves down into physical form, and so there's this protocosmic orbit happening between form and formless, heaven and earth. It's another polarity. It's another relationship, really. And so it's one thing to be able to get there, but what I would consider a higher skill, more difficult, is to bring something back from there and crystallize it here, to bring the oneness realm, to bring heaven to earth, and then like let that be expressed through your being. That's a whole nother thing, right? So I know this is kind of a long-winded answer to this question, but my point being that doing spiritual practice isn't all fucking light and love and bliss and like, oh, I'm transitioning to the fifth dimension. You know what I mean? No, because there's battles in the higher realms too. You know what I mean? There's a war on earth because there's a war in heaven. There's a lot of agendas. There's a lot of, oversouls, and like, fuck, the rabbit hole gets really fucking deep. You know what I mean? So doing spiritual practice is actually often not what you think it is. And so what I consider more of, so to really answer that question, if I need to just like balance and harmonize, what I actually do is just sink my breath to my abdomen. I lay on a recliner and I just listen, pay attention to the breath of the nostrils, pay attention to the breath, the back of the throat, pay attention to the breath, just going down in levels. And it takes me like 30 minutes. By the time I'm down here, it's just like, oh, I'm fucking just sunk, relaxed, feeling great, feeling like, okay, I'm grounded. I'm like, that feels good. If I need balance, I do that type of thing. I don't do spiritual practice for balance. I do them for, I mean, there is a balancing aspect, like completing various aspects. Like, fuck, here we go. Here's the rabbit hole. This is what I've really been up to, guys, recently. I've been sorting through some deep fucking ancestral issues lodged in my right core channel. Heavy shit, witch hunts, fucking being murdered and burned and staked for like expressing your sexuality, basically expressing yourself. There was times where it literally meant death. And like, that's the kind of shit I've been sorting out in my energetic system. Like, holy fuck, there's this like ice cube structure, and it like, oh, I go into it, it's like, ooh, it's lighting up here. Okay, my kidney channel, oh shit, it connects to my spleen. Oh shit, it's up here too. It's a fucking like triangle of fuckery. And so yeah, the real spiritual work, it's heavy. But once you get through all the shit, like after 3 days of like, what the fuck was that? And like deep fatigue, deep exhaustion, this deep water element fear stuff coursing through my body, it came to completion. And I felt fucking awesome and liberated. And then I felt balanced. So it's not really easy. It's not sunshine and rainbows. That's for damn sure. It's not for the weak at heart. The true spiritual work, a lot of what people consider spiritual practice in the modern world is pure escapism. That's all it is. It's like, okay, I'm imagining divine light and my archangels, and yeah, there's a dimensional shift coming in the future. In the future, everything's going to be blissful and perfect, so I can sit here and do nothing. It's fucking escapism. That's all it is. To truly seek truth, to wake up from the matrix, it can be very heavy. It's not for the faint of heart. You got to be grounded. So that's again like the end goal isn't to get to heaven. The end goal is to like be able to be present with part of yourself in source and here in the physical realm, which is where everything is really being acted out, where all the change is happening, where we're reaching completion with a lot of things, so yeah. Tuning in from the Twilight Zone. It's it's Nadon hour, apparently. Taoist internal alchemy. I love this shit. All right. Whew. You guys still with me? That was a tangent. I love it. Sa Omar says, does vagus nerve activation also happen when trying to circulate the sexual energy? Yeah, it certainly can. Yeah, definitely. Okay, last question. Wrap it up. Reel it back in. Herbage Meerkat. Yo, brah. Is Dantian breathing with slight squeezing of the perineum when the tension is at the bottom a good Qigong practice alongside testicle breathing and microcosmic orbit? Yes, it's fantastic. Build your Dantian, and then you're circulating through the orbit. You're in good shape. Johans says, my wife needs really fast in and out motion in order to orgasm, which makes it impossible for me to last. She knows I'm doing semen retention and tantric stuff, but still can't finish without it. Yeah, this is kind of what separates the boys from the men. Is not to like. So well, there's a few things I'll say about this. It's a common pattern. Well, first of all, women do sometimes need to have their brains fucked out. And as a man, you need to be able to fuck her brains out, which is why really getting good at this stuff is important. And not to like say you're doing something wrong, like fuck, it's not easy. It's not easy because we're trained, our bodies are programmed to be quick shooters. This is a huge focal point in my course, especially my new course, Sex God, is like, this is one of the focal point, because check out my recent video on primal fuck energy. I released that last Saturday on my YouTube. Check that video out, because like this is what you have to step into, right? Had a recent experience with my wife where she needed the bone beating. You know what I mean? It's intense, and like just I step into a different. I like become a whole different person. I really feel like I step into my sex god, because I can't be pounding her brains out and like just be sitting there thinking about my dick and what it's feeling, because it builds up too fast. So what I have to do is there's different things I do. You got to, first of all, you got to breathe properly, keep breathing, make sound, tune into your fucking lion. Like, you can't ejaculate when you're less likely to ejaculate when you're doing that kind of thing. So you have to express, you have to be able to release and discharge without ejaculating. That's the whole thing. And another big thing I'm teaching in the course is the sex god course is like a different pathway of redirecting tension that otherwise goes into the pelvic floor. And this creates the spinal pump. It's badass. So I will say, just, do your best and work with the sexual kung fu stuff. It really is about getting your mind into a meditative state during fucking. Because if you're sitting there thinking about your dick, thinking, am I going to ejaculate? That's exactly where you're going to go. When you can get into just like alpha state consciousness, I mean, like alpha brainwave state consciousness, and just like you're in a meditation, like run the orbit, for example. That's something I'll do. Is just like that's the only thing there is in the universe is my partner and my orbit running. I'm not even thinking about my dick. It can last forever doing that, son. And the one other thing I will say here is that a lot of us become desensitized in our bodies from basically excessive sexual stimulation. I've been really noticing recently, like how I was thinking about, like, wow, when I was younger, I used to be able to like get aroused just from like touch, just like a slight touch on my body, just like a slight, like my whole body was a lot more erogenous when I was younger. I'm like, wow, I've kind of programmed myself out of that. Like as men, we program our penis to be our only erogenous zone, and I think for a lot of women as well, sometimes they develop numbness in the yoni, and numbness from, it could be various things. Could be from emotional wounding, traumatic experiences, or just like, maybe they use a vibrator too much, requiring overstimulation basically just to feel a buildup to pleasure. So there's a lot to it. And with that, from Tai to going to pound town on your woman, signing off. It's Jonathan White here. And once again, get the Semen Retention Lifestyle course for 35% off through the weekend. It's an awesome course. There's a link in this YouTube description. There's a link in my Instagram bio. And take care, my friends. Do your practice. Build new habits. Remember, everything that is happening in your life is happening because you allow it to. So what do you want? Start practicing your discipline. Do your qigong, do your breath work, drink your clean water, and have fun out there, guys. Keep it real. We'll see you next time.